Sorry, I got carried away.
Hello, and we're back with SK Roundtable. We'll continue our discussion on terrorism, and we'll begin with Shannon Mackie. Shannon,
okay,
let's continue your discussion on waiting out
I have
terrorism.
a little quote from Secretary George Shultz. He said that the law-abiding nations of the world put an end to terrorism, and to this barbarism that threatens the very foundation of civilized life. I mean, we have people in government that agree with me, you know, that this just shouldn't be. They shouldn't have to kill anybody. Well, I can't say that, because in a way I do agree with Caitlin that if we have Americans killed, then we've got to draw a line. We have to use some force.
Mm-hmm. If I may interject, that the reason that we have Americans killed is because people who believe, like yourself, that we shouldn't do anything about terrorists. If we did just once, just nuke them all, then the terrorists would realize that we are a force to be reckoned with, and we will not put up with terrorism.
Okay, you have a good point there, but don't you think that if we did something like that, a Russian-backed country that we did this to, maybe Russia will want to get back at us and want to nuke us?
Speaking of Russia, I have a very interesting example here, Shannon. Thank you. In Russia, some Russian citizens were held hostage by Iran, I believe, and the Russian KGB tracked down the terrorists, found their families, disemboweled a few members of them, and then sent the bodies to the terrorists. The terrorism immediately stopped and the hostages were released. Now, why can't we take a firm stand like that?
Not sure.
I don't think that's right. Do you think that's right?
Sure.
If your brother went and bombs the embassy and the government came and killed you, would you want that? Yeah.
Well,
just to set an example?
Yeah, if it set the standards for a better way of life.
But would it stop terrorism?
Hopefully. I mean, I'm sure a lot more terrorists, in thinking of Russia, consider that when they're considering what they want to do.
Don't you think most terrorists are suicidal anyway?
No.
No? There are some terrorists that are. What do you think about that?
How many terrorists do you know,
that's
Terry?
a good point.
They don't care if they're forced into it or not.
They don't care if they die or they live war.
Then we should kill them. It's their death wish. Kill them and stop them now before they do it again.
Well, when you try to do that, I mean...
But you're destroying all these innocent people.
And you're taking a chance. You could kill innocent... Yeah, you try to kill somebody and you don't succeed. They might kill the people that they have held hostage, and that doesn't work at all,
Okay, Shannon, but if you wait it out, what if they say they just want to kill one person each hour? What do you do then?
Ooh. First of all, you have to make sure that they're really going to do it. They're not bluffing, You should really understand.
You should still wait it out until they kill one person, and then that person's family is probably
really
someone very rich, and then they sue the government.
Well, I think you should try to negotiate with them.
If the terrorist is suicidal, do you think they'll be negotiable?
Well, they gotta want something. I mean, they have to want. Why would they? They gotta have some reason for taking these people, holding hostage. Give them what they want. Maybe
give in to them.
Maybe,
the more you give in to them, the more often they will do it again.
Well, I'm saying
that's the reason terrorism is so abundant nowadays, because the terrorists get away with it.
If we could get the hostages released, and then track them down, you can do whatever you want with them. I don't really care. But I'm talking about the people that they have hostage. You got to think about them.
Not necessarily.
Okay. Is there any suggestions you'd like to put down to stopping terrorism, Shannon?
Well, like I said, we should try to use more of an...
any off-the-wall suggestions, any possible?
Have more like a nationwide, worldwide type government system for, things like terrorism,
Set up laws, worldwide laws.
Yeah.
How about you, Caitlin? What is your solution to terrorism?
Well, Terry, to be honest, I think that we should brainwash the entire world. No terrorism, just peace and love.
Peace and love.
Right.
Brainwash terrorism.
Yes, that's exactly.
Okay.
Interesting.
That is interesting. And if you can't brainwash them?
Well, why don't we just raise the price of
How do you
guns
know
so they can't afford
raise
them?
the price of guns?
Exactly.
So you know they steal them. Okay, I'll have to interrupt here, and we'll be back with our discussion on terrorism. Please stay tuned.
I have a entire statement.
Do you have something to
I
read?
have a whole statement I want to
Oh,
read.
okay.
Hello, and welcome back to SK Roundtable, the show with political questions that everyone wants to know the answers to. Let's continue our show with Caitlin. She has a few points that she'd like to express.
Thank you, Terry. Well, while policymakers continue to discuss legal and diplomatic solutions to the terrorist violence like we're trying to do here, while new commissions ponder its causes, the Israeli attacks on the headquarters of the PLO in Tunisia should provide some guidance in the only way to deal with the terrorists. Terrorists reject, on principle, all the institutions and traditions that most societies use to restrain violence, though they're the first ones to whine when violence is used against them. They respect neither law nor conventional ethics, and their attacks are deliberately aimed at targets that, even in war, are off limits. Civilians, diplomats, teachers, and clergymen have been the recent targets of Mideast terrorism. It should therefore be clear, as it has been long clear to Israel, that there's no way to deal with these people through rationalization or legal and diplomatic channels. You just can't rationalize anything to them. I think the only way to stop terrorism is to make the cost of violence more expensive to its perpetrators than they are willing to pay. We know who the terrorists are, where they are, and how to get to them. There's no reason, then, that